Howard. I'm the officer in charge of Firearms branch. Thank you for all coming along this afternoon. The reason that we wanted to call this press conference was because there's been a number of incidents involving gel blaster toys, and they are toys, they're not firearms under the Firearms Act. However, because of their appearance, they have caused us some concern and also concern to members of the public. What people need to understand, it's not illegal to own or possess a gel blaster. You can buy them in Adelaide or you can buy them online. But because people can mistake them for being a firearm, you may be committing offences if you take one out in public and use it in a threatening way. So what also could occur is that if you were to be involved in an offence and you're in possession of a gel blaster, because it's an imitation that looks like a firearm, you could be aggravating that offence, which means it would double the penalty. So if you assaulted someone without a gel blaster, the maximum penalty is 2 years. With a gel blaster, because it looks like an imitation firearm, it would be 4 years. And depending on the types of offences, depending on how the penalties are increased. So what we're asking is, because they are very popular, there's gel blaster skirmish groups and clubs around the place, that owners of gel blasters use common sense when they take them out in public, and really I wouldn't recommend that they carry them around the streets. They confine their use to gel blaster skirmish clubs or in their own home, so that they don't concern or cause any unwanted confrontation. Because if the police get called in response to a job where a gel blaster is being used and we suspect it's a firearm, we'll be treating the person as being armed with a firearm until we can say and prove to the contrary. So are there any questions?
Just describe the recent incident, Steve, or do you have a particular one that highlights what's going on?
Probably the one that was of most concern was on Facebook, where the young man had a gel blaster in a selfie type photo and made offensive comments. That caused quite some concern. But there's been other jobs where we've had to attend where people have been in possession of a gel blaster, and the tasking comes in as a person armed with a firearm when in fact it's a toy.
Is there an indication on sort of the rough number of those incidents that you've seen in recent times of that happening?
Well, not at present, but they are increasing. But they're categorised as person being in possession of a toy, not a firearm.
How much are these gel blasters worth as well? Like, if you were to buy one on the internet, are we talking a serious amount of money, or is this something a kid could afford saving up his pocket money?
I purchased that one for $240 in Adelaide, but they range in price.
Could there be potentially fatal consequences if you are called out? It may end up in a death.
There could be. There's if a person's armed with a gel blaster, especially if you look at that particular model, it looks like an assault rifle, and we would be treating it accordingly. Now, but it also could cause a confrontation between people who aren't in the police. So we just tell people to use common sense. It is a toy, but it could be mistaken for a firearm.
Has this happened just in recent months or over the last year? What time period?
Probably it's come to the fore in recent months when they've become more popular, and the skirmish groups have formed within Adelaide. But if you do a search online, you'll see that there's a number of retail outlets that sell gel blasters.
Have there been any incidents overseas where something serious has happened?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Apart from that Facebook incident, what about the other incidents? Has someone been charged or reported for using this?
No, because it is a toy and they haven't used it to commit an offence, so it's not illegal to possess a toy gun in South Australia.
So they were not using it in conjunction while committing a crime?
No.
Is it illegal in other states?
Yes, it is. So other states have appearance-based firearms legislation. So if something looks like a firearm, it's deemed to be a firearm. Where in South Australia, you've got to pass certain thresholds for to have a firearm, or if it's a regulated imitation firearm, which is governed under the Firearms Act, it's either got to be readily modified to fire a projectile and also have the ability to fire a projectile. That's made of plastic. It doesn't meet those threshold tests, so it's not a firearm. We're not in the business of regulating toys. We're in the business of regulating firearms.
So would you argue that these things should be made illegal as they are in the state? Would that make your job easier? Or?
No. I'd prefer them to stay toys, and our Firearms Act in South Australia is very robust for regulating the use and possession of firearms. Bring toys into it, and it's not appropriate.
It's just Queensland and SA where they're legal, is that correct?
Yes.
You've got a well, one of them sort of here. Are there any other, I guess, forms that might not look like this that are similar in that sort of realm of what you're dealing with or challenging? There's a whole range of gel blasters from AK-47s to Steyrs, which are the assault rifles that the Army use, to sniper rifles, to blasters that look very science fiction-ish, and if that's a word, but science fiction. And yeah, they've got a vast range of these toys.
Were there any consequences for the boy who posted that on Facebook?
I'm not involved in that case, so I can't comment on it, I'm sorry.